Hello, everyone, and welcome back to SCTV for ScreeningClub.com, where we break down the latest in television entertainment for you each week. I'm here, as always, with my two associates, my brother Chris. What's up, Chris?
Nothing much. How about you?
Pretty good. And our good friend Mike. How are you, Mike?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. Everyone's feeling better.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah, Chris, how are your teeth?
They're a lot better.
Yeah.
No more bleeding.
No more special snacks in
Still,
lieu of normal people food?
There's no more special snacks, but there's still things that I can't eat. Like chips I can't have.
Is there like a chart that they give you for, like, okay, 3 weeks out, you can now eat chicken or something?
No, it's just like kind of how you feel.
Okay.
But the crunchy stuff and I guess the straws are like not for a while. I really wanted to have some granola yesterday with some yogurt.
So how do you gauge how you feel about the crunchy stuff?
Well,
if
like,
there's no like rules.
Well, no, that is like stuff like until the holes in the back of your mouth like heal.
And you just feel that with your tongue or something?
Well, you just don't. You can look in your mouth and see.
Oh.
But like, because that stuff can really get dug in there.
But you're not like an expert. Like, there must be some point. Like, do you have to get checked up so they can tell you that the hole's healed?
No, you can just see. If it's kind of gross, but if you look in my mouth right now, you can see like holes where my teeth used to be.
That's disgusting, Chris.
Yeah,
Don't bring that up
gets
on this
stuck in there
podcast again.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's another reason why this week is a great week, and we had a short debate about whether and how much we should bring this up. But living in New England, we all did just witness the greatest comeback of all time in the Super Bowl this past week. And what a Super Bowl it was. And of course it aired on TV, SCTV, it all comes back to it. But anyway, you know what? I'll just give a quick opening thought here, and then I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts. The Falcons just sort of seem like nice guys. I didn't really like hate them, you know?
Yeah.
Like I would have been fine. Like, I probably would have been cheering for them if it was anyone but the Patriots. You know, they just all seem like sort of nice guys. But still,
I agree.
You know, it looked pretty dim, pretty like hope was fading fast.
It's always darkest before the dawn.
And then what we saw, ladies and gentlemen, was just the greatest quarterback of all time. Step it up. But what were your guys' thoughts on the Super Bowl?
Well, yeah, I agree. I didn't feel sort of any animosity whatsoever towards the Falcons. Their head coach seems like a nice guy, a little flaky, kind of like in the mold of a Pete Carroll. But nonetheless, a decent guy. Matt Ryan, of course, from Boston College. We all love Julie Jones.
I do, and
I think Jeff loves him a little bit more than we do.
What?
I said I think you love him a little bit more than we do. I've never had him on my fantasy team. So.
I really do love Julio, and yeah, I had him last year on my fantasy team. And what a catch, huh? That would have been the catch if they had won the sideline catch where he.
I know.
Like he was bending like his whole body, and he was like out of bounds, and he tapped that other toe. It was crazy.
I think everyone sort of thought that was like the final nail in the coffin.
Yeah.
But those Falcons, they ran some really questionable like offensive plays. Some of their key opportunities towards the end, and that allowed the Patriots to sort of creep back in.
Did you guys see the sound effects that
No.
they do? You know how they release everyone mic'd up?
Those,
Yeah.
Big Boy Blunt had some classic lines during that
Wow.
that sound effect. Really, like he was almost like he wasn't narrating, but like they continued, and it would always be Blunt on the sideline going like, oh, we got Tom Brady. This is done. This is done. You know, like he just keep like saying like, and then his classic line, just to give you one little tidbit, when that catch happened, when the Julie Jones catch happened, he went, man, every Super Bowl we play in, there's got to be a crazy catch. I mean, this is my second one, but every Super Bowl.
It's true.
He's acting like he's been on the
true.
team
And
for 10
he
years.
was right. That was kind of a prophetic comment, because moments later, Julian Edelman made like the most insane catch that I've seen since the David Tyreek play against the Patriots.
And they showed Julie Jones made a comment on that catch, because everyone's like, no, it wasn't a catch, and they're doing it. And then they cut to Julie Jones, and he goes, I think you made that catch. I was like, man, if Julie Jones says, yeah, it was pretty good. But Chris, how'd you feel? You sometimes are a fan of the Patriots and sometimes aren't.
I'm not the biggest Patriots fan. Not really a fan of any NFL team.
Chris is a mercenary.
Yeah, it's whoever's on my fantasy team. So,
but you're a Tom Brady fan, right?
I like Tom Brady. He's not the Patriots. I will say they're not like they're pretty. I know other places disagree, but they're a pretty clean, cut and dry team. Like they're not.
That's generous of you.
They're a bunch of nice guys. Not like blunt.
I think you can tell how Chris is saying that he's impartial, but he's actually not by saying the Patriots are a clean cut bunch. I don't think.
Well, let's
lots of places in America
I love Antonio Brown, the greatest wide receiver in the league.
Sure,
better than Julie Jones, and
I think Julie's better, but
I disagree.
Agree to disagree.
Sure,
but so I love Antonio Brown. I like Le'Veon Bell a lot, but Ben Roethlisberger is not a good person. He's done some pretty disgusting things. And the worst thing you can say about Tom Brady is that he, more likely than not, was sort of involved in deflating footballs.
That's very true, Chris. And I think
just the most overblown story of this century, I would say, is the whole Deflategate.
Big Ben does some really disgusting things. And it's just brushed under the rug.
There's been several other quarterbacks have also come out and admitted to altering footballs below or above the requirements, and nothing happens.
Altering is such a dangerous word because it implies that it has a serious effect on the outcome of anything.
Mike is right.
In fact, adding a little bit of air or taking a little bit of air out of the footballs, it does nothing to affect the outcome of the game.
I know I'm the one that brought it up, but I think we're getting lost in the weeds here.
Okay,
we're talking about Deflategate.
Everyone take a look at Tom Brady's stats after halftime at that Colts game until right now, and you'll see how he does without his potentially deflated balls.
Such overblown, nonsensical bullshit. And I think this Super Bowl definitively puts that to rest.
And I'll say, okay, two more really quick thoughts. Number one, I love looking on social media and seeing everyone was Patriots fan, bandwagon fans. They're hopping
so many
off. Tom Brady
comparisons to the election from last year too, which was exhausting.
But then, I have to say though, the king, and I won't name anyone specifically, but I saw this guy on Twitter. He was saying, clearly a Patriots fan, was just shitting all over us. Tom Brady. What happened to Tom Brady? I thought this guy was the best. I screenshotted it because I said, I want to remember this. Bring it back the next day. He's erased all of them. But not only that, he took it a step further. Now has a tweet shitting on people that were shitting on the Patriots during the Super Bowl. Wow. When he himself was doing it. At least the other people were man enough not to erase it. And then second, did you guys watch the parade and see Bill Belichick invent a new phrase? I
saw he was chanting something.
He was chanting "No days off." And his only Bill Belichick, his first new catchphrase is just getting thousands of people to chant with him on the victory float, and it's a chant about not taking any days off, which is so fitting because it was 2 days after he made that statement. I mean, I'm sure you guys have seen that where they said how do you feel about winning? And he said something like, "Oh, it's all great."
5 weeks behind the rest of the.
But we're 5 weeks behind the rest of the league.
Also, there's some double irony in that most people cheering in that crowd were probably taking a day off from work to attend.
That's true.
That's a great point.
Didn't think about that.
That's a great point. I bet that's why it didn't catch on so strong at first. Everyone was saying is Bill Belichick called us out.
I wish I could have taken a day off. But.
Yeah. So, anyway, great stuff, but seriously, no hard feelings for Falcons. I know it sucks, and we've been on the other side, and the Falcons all seem like nice guys. Mm-hmm. So, great, but yeah, greatest coach and quarterback of all time.
No doubt.
Chris, me and you've been watching Taboo. Just talk a little Taboo.
So we're both
I'll just sit silently over here in my corner.
You should catch up, though.
That's my preference.
So we're both up to episode 4, which ended with the big question the big standoff, which I thought was pretty cool. I know I'm skipping right to the end. It's the big, he challenged him to a duel.
Oh yeah, I watched this a little while ago, Chris.
Oh, that's fine.
So you'll have to, because I remember lots of stuff happened in this episode.
So the episode starts off with like the big chemical, like there's that scientist that's like showing off like the chemical reactions.
Oh, but it was the guy from the trading company, right? That challenged him. Is that what I'm
No,
talking
it
about?
was his half sister's husband.
Oh shit. Okay.
He was like, this has to end.
Can I just say, like, it was really evident in the scenes with the chemist, though. The sets in this show are really cool.
It's all really intricate.
Really is, like, I buy into except for like we talked about last week, some of, like, the costumes with, like, the king's men and stuff are a little bit, like, sort of
Cartoony,
caricature
but,
over the top.
Luckily, he wasn't in this episode.
Yeah.
He was spoken of, but not in the episode.
But yeah, like that chemist scene was really cool.
And we got some really fun action, some really hardcore action with the giant came to try to assassinate him.
Can I just say, like, is he just invincible?
He might have some. It depends on how supernatural you want to go with your thinking of the show. Did he return from Africa with
Special
some
power.
protection on him, or is he just a crazy man that gets things done?
I know it. I mean, if he has some protection on him, it sort of takes away a little bit. If he's just an invincible man, like he shouldn't worry about anything. Then there was that whole crazy. So the thing with the chemist, he's gonna have him help with the gunpowder.
He's
right?
gonna make the gunpowder for him because of these laws that have been changed, and criminals can't make gunpowder or something like that. But I did like how that guy also deals in laughing gas, which it's fun to see, which is stories I've heard all the time when reading through books and stuff about how these like uppity aristocrats used to have parties where they would just like snuff laughing gas just for fun.
Really?
Yeah. And we got to see that in this episode a little bit.
Classic Chris historical tidbit.
Well, it shows that they're doing their research a little bit.
But that's really cool. So wait, was he didn't bust out the laughing gas during that like what the hell
Not
was
during
that? It
the
was just like a
performance.
chemist performance.
I think it was just like when like the layman doesn't really know much about science, like just like taking some gunpowder and like exploding a little bit and making it like fizzle is like pretty crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, the laughing gas didn't come out until the party at the end, which, I mean, the show, it just looks so good. The scenes are just so well shot and has that real gritty English vibe that you don't get from American shows unless they're connected to the BBC somehow.
It's true. And then we get Lorna, which I believe is the supposed ex-wife of his father or whatever, where she's captured.
Yeah. And I like how the show is kind of making them allies when you would have thought that they would have
Definitely
kind of been at odds, but he's probably seeing the writing on the wall and making the smartest move.
I think so. It's
definitely unraveling in this really intricate way that I wasn't expecting going into that show. I was expecting a lot more supernatural stuff, even like a little bit more, but we really haven't gotten much of that.
It's definitely true, but still it holds true to the quote that you said that made me buy into the show, which was Tom Hardy is a crazy British man. Which is true.
Yeah.
And he is.
And
so
he's got a plan.
I would say, Chris, like, what are you thinking is going to happen? Where do you think it's going?
I think we're eventually going to, like, something will happen, some violent thing will happen, or there'll be a reason for him to need to leave England, and he'll leave in a hurry, and he'll go to America.
Okay, first Screen Bev 2017, does Tom Hardy have supernatural powers of any kind? Yes or no?
Yes. Well, we've kind of seen a little bit when he did like that incantation in front of the fire, and it like affected his half sister.
Okay, well then let's be a little bit more specific. I'm talking about like he has some sort of borderline like
is he
immortal.
going to do something where like he like force pushes someone? Is that what you're saying? Like he's gonna have like crazy powers?
Okay, I'd say it either has to be that, or it has to come out that like he cannot be killed. Mostly, like that they have to do something like really crazy.
Like someone's gonna like stab him, and he's gonna be like, "Not today," even though he already was stabbed.
Although that really has almost
and
happened
he almost
a couple
died.
times. But yeah, so like that's what I'm thinking. Supernatural in that he either does something crazy like a Darth Vader force move, or he like cannot be killed unless it's in a crazy way.
I'll take the negative on that screen bet. I don't think it's going to be something like crazy like that.
What if someone teaches him? Like, even if someone teaches him, Chris, like he could acquire a new power. That still counts. And in that way, I'll take the positive. I'll say he will. So lock it in, Mike. You're not taking part. So nope. You're the keeper of the.
Sure, I'll just nod my head and pretend like I was listening to what you guys were talking about.
Sounds good.
All you have to remember is Chris no, Jeff yes, screen bet, taboo. Great, but let's do this. Let's get Mike involved. Let's do some quick hits here.
Let's transition from the Chris Jeff show to the Mike show.
Yep.
Yeah, I know.
Well, you need to even out the time.
Exactly. We're gonna let Mike go. We're gonna set Mike free here on a couple of different quick hits. And please, Mike. I mean, this is really your segment today, but
I've got a few shows that I'd like to discuss.
Please,
I'll start with the one that Chris said he watched a third of.
Yeah.
Couldn't make it the whole way through in time for the podcast.
I didn't know that it had aired until like 5 hours prior to this recording.
Chris, that's sloppy. But that show is Legion on FX, which you probably know a little bit more of the origins of than I do.
I know a little bit about the character. I'm not like a huge X-Men fan. I know a little bit about the character, and especially this X-Men continuity, they've changed so much and things have gone so wacky.
I've been seeing these teasers for Legion for feels like 6 months, and up until very recently, I had no idea it had anything to do with X-Men.
Yeah.
And you could
probably see the
make
X in
that
the
case.
O?
What?
You didn't see the X and the O in Legion?
Did not faze me. You could probably make that case just after seeing the first episode that you might not even know, unless you're like intensely familiar with the X-Men continuity. Yeah, you could make the case that it had nothing to do with X-Men even then.
So far,
which is fine by me because I don't even like the X-Men.
Halfway into the episode, like 30 minutes into the episode, there's only one line that would even give you a hint that it's part of the X-Men universe you didn't already know.
What line is that?
It's when the guy that's questioning him in the pool, he leaves, and then he says he might be the most powerful mutant we've ever seen.
I guess that's actually a good point.
Yeah,
mutant kind of stands out.
But still, that's so generic of a term.
But damn, I loved that pilot, the premiere. Just vibrant and original and cool and just stunningly shot. There are certain set pieces throughout the hour and a half premiere that are just dazzling and beautiful. And yeah, I was so impressed by it, and I can't wait for more. It looked great, but it also, the way it unfolded, the narrative was really inventive and interesting. Involving this man, his name is David, who may or may not be insane, according to what he's been told and what he thinks of himself. He thinks he's insane. Little does he know he might be the most powerful mutant alive in the X-Men universe.
My God.
What?
My God.
Yeah. But man, and I've seen the show. I saw the comparison to Hannibal prior to me actually seeing it. And I would say that's absolutely true. Just in the distinctive visual artistry that sort of exists from like frame to frame throughout the entire episode, but also in the way that the show just puts you so closely, intimately inside the mind of the protagonist and sort of conveys the world of the show outward through their eyes, which was really impressive. Like in the case of Hannibal, they did that so well with Will Graham. So yeah, big thumbs up. Can't wait for more.
Yeah.
You're making me want to check it out.
I think it's required of you that you check it out. It's only the one episode's aired. It aired last night on Wednesday.
Well, the same could be said about the last few episodes of DS that were required of you. But
I think Legion is a little bit more higher caliber than DS.
Really, I'd like to see you say that to Kiefer's face.
I would.
But you would?
He'd probably agree.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, this is the special. It's from, I didn't mention this, it's from Noah Hawley. He wrote and directed the episode. Noah Hawley, of course, the creator of the amazing Fargo miniseries on FX.
Ah.
But I didn't realize, I knew he wrote it, I didn't realize he directed it. And there are some shots, there are a couple, I know, really long single take shots. I know you love those, Chris.
Oh, yeah. I saw one.
There are two of them in the episode that are just spectacular.
I like it.
So yeah, you finish that.
I will. And I'll watch the next one for next week.
Yo, speaking of Kiefer.
I know, great transition. Speaking of Kiefer, but also, are we speaking of Kiefer? Because he's not in this 24 minis.
But
it's not even a miniseries, new series.
Was he referenced?
He was not referenced.
I've
only seen 2 episodes premiered this week. One directly after the Super Bowl, another one Monday night. I only saw the premiere. I haven't watched episode 2 yet.
Wait, so this is like a reboot of 24? Not reboot, but like just like it's an extension of some kind, or what?
It is
Same universe.
It is absolutely a reboot. So a couple years ago, they brought back 24 in the form of a miniseries called 24 Live Another Day, and that was starring Kiefer Sutherland and Jack Bauer. And it was mostly pretty good. It only ran the 12 episodes as opposed to the traditional 24, hence the title. Yeah. So it was only half a day as opposed to a full day. And that's what they're doing. They brought back 24 Legacy, this new series.
Yes, okay.
And they're doing the same thing, only 12 episodes. But I believe they intend to make an entire new series out of this, as opposed to just like a one-off like they did with Live Another Day.
Got you. Okay.
But yeah, Kiefer wanted nothing to do with this, as far as I recall. He had bigger and better things.
He's busy.
He's not even like an executive producer. He's not even like an executive producer or something.
Not that I noticed. No.
He
may have been referenced in. When we left off Jack Bauer, he was in a pretty dark place and Live Another Day. We may not hear from him for a long time.
Didn't England blow up in that?
He was captured by the Russian government, I believe. In prison.
Sounds like 24.
Mike, he's become president.
Now he's president. Yes.
How is the guy that is the new lead?
Corey Hawkins.
Yeah,
he played his name.
He played
he's the star. He was pretty good. The premiere was fine. I had no real issues with it. It was definitely in the mold of 24. A lot of the people that were intensely involved in the original series are back, so it definitely has that 24 feel. It is devoid of Jack Bauer, which is a problem, because he was often the very best part of 24.
There wasn't even a line like, "This man's the greatest man since Jack Bauer."
Not yet. I mean, just a little synopsis of this new show. It's about Corey Hawkins' character, former Navy SEAL Team 6, I believe, who participated in some covert operation overseas with his team, and which involved taking down a terrorist, whatever. And now they're back trying to live their civilian lives in the United States. Years later, they're all being picked off one by one by some shadowy Islamist terror cell.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Are we sure it's a shadowy Islamist terror cell, or is it a man who's been wronged?
Or maybe a brainwashed man. Someone.
Man who's been. What do you mean?
Do you know who I'm saying? Maybe a brainwashed man. Maybe a man who you think has been removed from the show.
Maybe a future president.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Operating from the close quarters of a Russian prison cell.
It could be like a Fate of the Furious situation, where he's turned against his former crew.
I didn't really understand that reference, Chris. I don't watch those garbage movies, but
I'll just say, think about this. What if he's a double agent? They think they've captured him. They think they've turned him on his side. The end of 24 Legacy is going to be the old switcheroo.
And I'm now rooting hard for DS to be canceled, to free Kiefer Sutherland to return back to 24 where he belongs.
Okay, this is breaking news. This quote. I'm rooting hard for DS to be canceled.
Mike wants him to crawl back on his hands and knees.
Of everyone. Like, the world would be better off with DS not existing. First of all, Kiefer Sutherland would be free to do what he was born to do, play Jack Bauer.
But Kiefer Sutherland,
24, the Legacy would be much better overall as a show. Starring Jack Bauer, Kiefer Sutherland, it would just work out best for everyone.
But he wants to spread his wings, Mike.
I know.
He doesn't want to just be Jack Bauer for the rest of his life.
He has his fun away from 24 for one season. DS goes away, and then he comes back next year.
I'm not sure DS is going away. Okay.
I agree. I think it's
here to stay.
ABC likes it.
Wow. But anyway, that does sound pretty interesting. I wonder where it's going to go. You know,
I'm into it. I love 24. It really sort of lagged towards the end, as most long running shows do, and it sort of became sort of a cliche of itself, parody of itself. But I'm game for more. It's still always really like fun and exciting, never not interesting or at least engaging. So.
May I interject into the middle of the Mike Quick Hits segment today?
If you must.
I have a movie that I just wanted to... I'm thinking about pulling a Chris signature and not looking at any of the trailers, not looking at the synopsis. But I've seen it pop up on Reddit quite a bit. I think it's called It Comes at Night. You guys seen any of this?
No.
I think it's getting like some hype.
Familiar.
Is his name
M. Night Shyamalan?
Do you guys remember do you guys remember the movie, I believe it was called The Gift?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And who was like the bad guy in that movie? Joel something, right? Joel Edgerton?
Edgerton,
I thought
Australian
Jason Bateman
guy.
was the villain.
No,
Egerton
he was the good guy, or the main character at least.
Also, I enjoyed that movie, The Gift.
That was written and directed by Egerton as well.
Is it
Didn't know that.
Egerton or
Joel?
I thought it was
Joel
Edgerton.
anyway? He's in this, I think. But I'm gonna throw it out there because I just wanted to see if you guys had heard about it, so you could give me like, Jeff, that was gonna be a good one or something. I don't know because I think I'm not gonna look at anything for it.
Okay. Do you even know like what synopsis? Like what? Is it like a horror movie?
All I know, yes, I know that it's some sort of horror movie, and that a bunch of people are in a house, or like a family's in a house. That's all I know.
Cool.
But yeah, it looks like it's getting some hype. So, I just wanted to throw that in there, give a little balance to the Mike Quick Hit section. Mike, you've also been watching Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, right?
Yeah. I love Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. As I've talked a few times on this podcast. I wrote about it on the site. I think it's a terrific show. And it just wrapped its season 2, the finale last Friday. And it just did so in just its confident, assured, original, just really awesome way that the show conducts itself. I don't really have much to say, considering you guys have no interest in the show, so there's no real room for a back and forth about it. But I will just say that I'm really glad that it was renewed for a season 3. I believe it's the lowest rated show on all of broadcast TV among all the 5 major networks. It's the lowest.
That's something you want to be bringing up, Mike.
Wow.
But it has a really
acclaimed.
Small, passionate following, of which I consider myself a part of. And it does really well critically, and it does really well on Netflix, so of course, it makes sense that it's being brought back. So
you don't think it's at risk for after this season, though, maybe?
I think they've been very vocal about a 4-season plan with it. So I think we're good for a full 4 seasons. Then again, Brian Fuller from Hannibal often talked about how he had like a 7-season plan for Hannibal. He only got 3 seasons.
Ooh.
Yeah. So Nothing's guaranteed in
Well,
broadcasting.
that's pretty ballsy in the first place to be like, oh, my show got picked up. This is like a 13-season plan. I really need to.
It's a good way to put pressure on your on your executives, because people start to grapple onto that, and they start to put pressure on them to renew the show, and they think that there's more story to tell. So.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. I'm happy you're enjoying it. And I'll just say quickly, guys. Celebrity Apprentice, shout out. It's coming down to it. Actually, I missed it on Sunday, so it might be down to the final 3 now, but we were down, I believe, to the final 4. Spoiler alert, Arnold fired 2 people. Actually, I think he's fired. He's been like throwing it down. Like, he fired, I think, 2 people last week too. But I think I officially do have my favorites. They've sort of emerged. I really like the guy from, like, he's the host of, it's not American Ninja Warrior. I think it's the show where the people do the obstacle course. You know what I'm talking about? Like American something. No, I think it's like called American something. But I don't think it's Ninja Warrior.
The guy from the NFL Network?
No. Like, he you'll see him, and he's a doctor. He, I think, is my favorite. But I have a couple others that I like too. Still, does not get old that, like, Schwarzenegger just shamelessly throws in his signature lines, like, at any point. Like,
did you see that Super Bowl ad?
No, for the Celebrity Apprentice?
No, for whatever crappy mobile game that he hawks.
Yeah, he's always plugging that
Chris.
game.
And he said his lines, like, he said all of his lines in that, like, 30-minute ad.
So
30-second
exhausting. Like, Arnold, have some respect for yourself. You were a former governor of California.
Dude, but know what? Those mobile games, like, they will pay up for these commercials now. So he probably got paid a ton. And it was probably like, look, here's the check, but you gotta say the lines. It's probably what it was.
I'm sure he was like,
it's probably as clear as that.
Sounds like a good deal. He doesn't seem to have a problem with it.
He probably gets paid a crazy amount of money for those tank, whatever the ones he's doing. But yeah, those mobile games are booming, man. They are booming. But anyway, let's talk a little Young Pope. I know you didn't get a chance to see, right, Mike? Both episodes this week or just one?
I was not able to get to them. I prioritized Legion and 24 over them.
It's all right. We can talk.
And with the Super Bowl, and then I had to work Monday night. Just was
a crazy week in New England.
Was it in the cards?
We can talk a little vaguely.
We should also, though, imagine we're in the middle of a blizzard here too. Like, we are.
We really are. Biggest
snowstorm
of the winter
today. Yeah. Lots of work and school canceled. So
it's currently snowing.
It was pretty crazy. But I will say this, and Chris, I'd love for you to give your initial thoughts. But really, episode 8, I think, has been my favorite episode.
I think so too.
But please give me your general thoughts, and then I did have some stuff I want to dive into a little bit.
Episode 8, you saw a turn for the young Pope's character. And I don't want to spoil anything for Mike, but you start to see a little goodness inside of him.
I think the use of that song when he's giving his speech, I don't know, Mike. I'm sorry, but I think Mike does do a good job of spacing out. If we do want to do a little spoilers, like, are you okay if we do a little spoilers, Mike? Or?
Well, now that you say it, I'm gonna be more alert than if you had just started talking about it while I was on my phone.
I saw you over there on your phone, and I thought to myself, he's
should have
probably
just
not
rolled
going to
with
hear
it,
this. Yeah, but I wanted to make sure first, because you could have also, popped up and what did you say, Jeff? He was dead the whole time? Like, that's the kind of thing.
Well, there is something a little vague. I'd say I did find it interesting that in his turn of character, where you started seeing him kind of be a little bit more nicer towards people, the only reason that happened is because he was able to shit on someone while doing it.
That is sort of true, Chris.
He did what was good for he did what was good for everyone, but it still was like a dick move, but to someone specific and not to everyone.
This show is so, like, I know, I guess you could say, like, disjointed or whatever, but just to see, like, sort of the culmination of a few things happen when he's giving his speech again, and I think that's sort of what you're talking about, right? Like during that speech, his talk. Also, the use of music during that I really liked. Like that actually probably made it my favorite moment of the entire show. Mike, he does do some crazy stuff in episode 8. Like episode 8, I feel like sort of turns the whole thing like what is going on.
I'm happy to hear that there is some serious developments, as you're implying. I think
I don't. Okay, and
serious character developments, not like
that's good.
Not like story.
I've been kind of growing frustrated with the show a little bit, just in its sort of complacency.
Yeah,
well, I think
just
it's understandable.
It just felt a little flat to me.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm happy to hear that there's some more things happening.
Lots of stuff is sort of happening, and I do. There was one thing I wanted to say. Okay, I get this is not specific, but I don't know if it's sort of a spoiler, but it's not specific, so I'll just say I think we're also starting to like I think a legitimate question to bring up now about the young pope is like I mean, I know it's not superpowers, but like is God like
is God intervening?
Like does he in this show have the ability to like God will
connect with God,
make things happen for him? Like that's what I'm saying. And I think that this episode, I don't know, I'd say to me the answer is pretty clearly yes now. Like that
Sister
he can
Mary
do
said
crazy
he was
things.
a saint.
Yeah, and she said that before.
Yeah.
She said that before like this crazy stuff
prior
happened.
Episodes,
right?
Yeah, let me bring out my prediction. It's a crazy prediction, probably not true.
Is this a screen bet?
No, because it's just a prediction. I wouldn't want to bet anything on this.
What do we
It has
usually
to do
bet?
with the young, our honor and dignity. It has to do with the young pope's parents.
Okay.
Colin Smith,
Of course, friend of the podcast,
show,
Colin Smith. Yes.
And
Lots of stuff with them, like in this episode too.
unnamed actress mother that I don't know her name. It's pretty good so far.
We can look
My
it up.
prediction is friend of the show, Colin, and that woman are not his parents, and those are visions.
Oh God.
Those are visions that his mind has made up. He's been told that he was adopted, but really, his parents are Sister Mary and the old guy that is like his spiritual father, the other cardinal.
I will say this.
have they ever shared a scene together, Sister Mary and James Cromwell?
No.
So what would suggest to you that they have like a previous relationship? They've never even mentioned each other.
I think that could be like a crazy moment because they haven't been together.
Wait,
I think you're onto something about the true nature of his parents.
Did you just say that you think those are his parents?
But I think that's a stupid prediction. I don't agree.
Well, it shows him showing up though. Like it shows them dropping them off.
I think that might be like suggested memory. Like Mother Mary was like,
and I will say this.
I remember blah, blah, blah.
Last we spoke to Colin, he was a little bit shifty when asked about like are they really the parents? Like he was very good and he didn't give away anything.
He was also very open about how he had no idea.
Yeah.
He could have been lying.
That's true, but I think he probably has some idea as someone that was so
But
involved.
if you remember, case in point, I think it was the first episode when Lenny shows up as a child to the orphanage and, and the other kid shows up to the orphanage. Sister Mary says,
the other kid's Andrew.
Do not call me mother, call me Sister Mary.
Yep.
She tells the other kid
to call her mom.
Call her ma.
I know. That's something that we've talked about before, and I wasn't sure why.
Hey, explain that.
I just don't see the whole like Sister Mary, James Cromwell angle. I think that doesn't make any sense.
I think it could be like a surprise, you know?
Well, Cromwell is he's such a fatherly figure. Like it would almost be too obvious, you know.
And they'd have to keep it. It would be a scandalous relationship with a scandalous child.
Can I just say something else about Andrew, which I believe is his name, like his friend,
his foster brother.
Yeah. So
didn't he kill himself?
Wait,
No.
you think that something happened in this episode? Is that what you're
Episode
saying?
6, didn't he jump off a building?
No,
he
that
ma-
was the priest that he denied. He denied that priest because he was following
Okay,
Lenny's
you're right.
orders.
Through his actions,
I
a
forgot.
person committed suicide.
Mix that up.
But I would say that he's so torn that, you know, I don't know. But I was gonna say about him, and this again is not a spoiler. Although stuff happens with this in this episode. Like,
Yeah.
what's the deal with this man being like the biggest ladies' man in the Vatican? Like, Andrew is just like, he's like a ladies' man. Well, I guess a ladies' and men's man, but like he's just like, I don't know. It just seems random that he is just like this crazy, like this crazy guy, like
Renegade priest.
yeah, like
Yeah.
I don't know. And obviously, me and Chris have seen these 2 episodes, so we know a little bit more. And there, you know, I think there's a little bit more of like ladies' man and stuff. I mean, not to keep saying ladies' man, but like he just seems like sort of like this party animal priest. Like it doesn't really, I don't know, sort of fit with the rest of like he doesn't seem to look like that to me. Like as far as like casting, he doesn't look like he would be that. But I guess that's part of the.
Does look like kind of just
part-
an average Joe.
Well, that's
40
part of it, you know.
40-something-year-old
That's
redheaded
his
man.
That's his sin, you know. It's his
Balding.
indulgences.
Balding, yeah.
Balding, getting rounding.
There is also at the they talk about that suicide a couple of times in this episode, and it does sort of, you know, these 2 episodes as a unit, like I actually think it was sort of cool to see them both together because they're so different, and Lenny does really go through a big transformation in these 2 episodes, because in episode 7, you know, it's like it looks like it's going one way, and then there's like this huge, like, you know,
Swing the other way.
in him in total in the next episode. But the conversation that he has a conversation with Andrew about the suicide, and he has a conversation with Voyello about the suicide. And excuse me, Voyello, that's probably one of the biggest Voyello smackdowns of all time, when they're having that discussion. Like, he takes a shit on him. But still, and then also in the opposite way, like there are smackdowns to be had in both of those conversations. So it was interesting to watch. Chris, as someone who's seen the episodes, do you think that there'll be a lot more tension between Andrew and Lenny going forward?
It's a good question. I'd say it's up in the air right now.
We'll see. We'll see how much tension there is between them and against up against Voyello too. Okay, so again, I've been enjoying this show, but if episode 8 is an indication, Mike, this could be cool moving forward.
This Sunday, Monday, or the 2 final episodes.
Yeah,
it's gonna
this
be-
is it. Although there is a second season, but what?
Yeah.
There will be, I believe, right?
Yeah, but it
Already
should
been
still
commissioned?
build to something.
I'm wondering what's going to build to.
It's not like there's this one thing that like it could be building to in my mind.
I'm thinking if he has God on his side, which is so crazy because everyone's saying, like, does he believe in God? Like,
Yeah.
he's crazy. But I feel like these 2 episodes have shown within the universe of this show that this man has some sort of power, like some sort of power on his side.
If I had to guess, the big thing that could possibly happen is he'd show his face to the public, and it'll be like this crazy speech that he makes.
And he's like secretly hideous.
What do you mean?
He wasn't Jude Law at all. That was just
Yeah.
like a projection, seen through his point of view of who he
Yeah.
thinks he is, but in reality he's just
Like a
some
Mr.
shriveled
Robot
old man.
type situation.
It was Roseanne.
He's the old pope.
He's the
wow.
old pope.
Wouldn't that be something?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it would be even crazier that like multiple people have made reference to him being young,
Young
if
and
he's actually
handsome.
old. But that was pretty good. So yeah,
There's also historical precedent for there to be a competing pope entitled the anti-pope,
whoa,
where like a sect breaks off and says,
this is the real pope.
like, you're not a legitimate pope.
Has that happened before, Chris?
Yeah.
Wow.
There's anti-popes, and Versailles became the new Vatican for a little bit.
Do you remember like the guy with the goat? in one of those episodes where he was threatening Lenny to make his own like religion. That reminded me of that. Nothing ever happened again with that.
Yeah.
Nothing ever happened again with the Italian prime minister either.
I remember there was a big thing in, I think, episode 6 about that man, and he disappeared.
The goat man.
The cop came and questioned Voyello, but then there hasn't been anything.
I think
since
we're gonna come back to that
maybe
in the last.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me
if it hasn't.
Oh, he disappeared. Okay.
Well,
Right.
it's heavily implied that they murdered him.
Ah, okay.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry, I was missing that.
Yeah.
I mean, I forgot.
There's so much going on.
So, you know what? And just one other thing I love about this show is just, like you've mentioned before, Chris. It's so cool just to see like what it might be like modern day inside the Vatican, but also like it's so cool like these like constant shots that they have of like we're getting a helicopter delivery of some crazy thing.
Yeah.
Like those are just so cool. Like when he got his big like crown thing delivered, like and it's always like they show the children playing on the helipad and then like this helicopter just got like, it's just so cool that's like probably close to what it's like in the Vatican, you know?
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. But yeah, we'll be looking forward to that and much more. We have lots of shows coming up, lots of other cool stuff.
Girls premieres its final season this Sunday.
Well, how many
I'm the
seasons?
only one who watches it, so I'll be the only one talking
And
about it.
Homeland is back next week.
What?
Homeland is back next week.
Homeland will be back next week. Last Week Tonight with John Oliver. I've been missing that show like crazy. Comes back on Sunday.
That's a great show. He'll probably have a lot to say about recent world events.
Yeah. And then relatively soon, within the next couple months, The Leftovers returns.
Oof! Leftovers comes back in April. I think Veep was just announced coming back in April as well.
Cannot wait. It's going to be a good year. It's going to be a good year.
Oh, yeah.
And while we look forward to that, let me ask you, Mike, where can we find you online?
On Twitter at linguistics_screeningclub.com.
And Chris?
Twitter.com/thatmorris and ScreeningClub.com.
And you can find me, as always, on therealjeffmoore.com or twitter.com/Jeffam, Jeffam. And if you'd like to get in touch with any of us to share your comments or thoughts, you can send us all an email at screeningclub@gmail.com. Remember to rate and subscribe to this podcast. We would love to hear more of your thoughts. And you can also join us, as my two associates here just mentioned, on screeningclub.com itself for more articles, insight, and to share your thoughts on there. So until next week, guys, enjoy your week of TV watching, and we will see you soon.